Hey, what's going on, guys? Cookies here. I just wanted to give some quick tips for healing Grievous. I know a lot of people are struggling with it this week, so I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring and offer some advice to maybe help you improve. So the first thing that I will advise is, and I mean, generally these tips can go for almost anything, like any weeks. It doesn't have to be Grievous specific weeks, but it's just when Grievous is at the active affix, all of this stuff becomes much more apparent that it needs to happen. Otherwise, you get punished much more severely for it. So the first thing is you need to be really aggressive with your defensives and your consumables. So health potions don't share a cooldown with any other potion in the game, so you can just use them freely to top your own health. Whenever your whole party is like starting to gain stacks of Grievous, the best time for this is stuff like Prideful. You could pretty much have a health potion up for every single Prideful in the entire dungeon, just about. So if you don't know necessarily where to use your health potion, use it on Prides. Um, and then just constantly use your defensives, even if it's for low amounts of predictable damage. So you'll see, if you watch like my stream or you watch my VODs and stuff, you'll see me constantly pressing my defensives just all the time and constantly keeping them on cooldown, because it's better to just use them and get them on cooldown and to potentially avoid some damage rather than just holding on to them forever and then pressing them when it's too late and you've already taken damage. So if you don't know where to use them, again, it's just a case of use them constantly and often when you think you might get targeted by something, or when you think you're going to take a little bit of damage, or when the whole group is taking damage. Again, Pridefuls is a free way to like use your defensive and know that it's getting a good amount of value. But a lot of defensives in this game are much lower cooldown than when Prideful's active, so you should be trying to get multiple uses out of it in between Prides. Other than this, if you aren't if you aren't sure how to heal Grievous at the moment, it's I guess the best way to describe it is like a lot of other healers use is a whack-a-mole playstyle. So what the whole intention is as soon as you see someone's health bar dip down from 100%, you should instantly be thinking of trying to get that health bar back up to 100%. Unlike, typical weeks where it's okay to let people take damage and let them sit at 80%, 70% health, because if they're not going to die, then you technically don't need to heal them. But with Grievous, it's kind of the exact opposite. As soon as anyone takes damage, they should be full healed, like almost just in all cases. It's very rare that you'll see me let people sit below full HP. Like even here, you just see like the Druid dip, so I just immediately throw Riptide Healing Surge. Um, so I guess when specifically dealing with healing Grievous stacks themselves, you want to be focusing on this whole whack-a-mole playstyle, but you also want to focus on one player at a time. So triage healing is really important. You don't want to be spreading out your heals and healing everybody with Grievous. You want to heal one player at a time. Focus on one person at a time, get them topped off, and then focus on the next person. Get them topped off, focus on the next person, get them topped off. Because the more and more that you spread your healing, the harder it becomes to heal Grievous, and then you start falling behind, because then you have people with 2, 3, 4 stacks of Grievous and they're dropping in HP, and now your AoE healing isn't going to be enough to keep it. It's not going to outpace Grievous. So it's really important to triage heal and to just focus on one person at a time. If you see 3 players at 50% HP and they all have 2 or 3 Grievous stacks, you need to pick whoever you think is in the most danger of like dying in the next few seconds and heal them to full health first. So just be cautious of when you're spreading your healing. You're also making it, you're making that Grievous just keep ramping up in difficulty. So try to focus one player down at a time as far as like healing them up to full. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is this is kind of on the same note as being aggressive with defensives and consumables. You want to use your cooldowns, your like offensive cooldowns, your healing cooldowns rather, early and often. In any key that's like plus 10 or higher, the only thing that you really need to think about as a healer is just making sure that you have at least 1 or 2 healing cooldowns for every Prideful. Other than this, you should be just constantly using your cooldowns, even on smaller trash packs that don't look that dangerous. As long as you're using those cooldowns frequently and learning where those cooldowns are best suited for every dungeon, that's what's going to be important. And if you just hold on to your cooldowns forever, you're never going to learn, oh, I should have had my cooldown for this pack, or oh, I should have had, because you always have it. But then once you get into a hierarchy, it's just not going to work that way. You can't just hold on to your cooldowns forever. So try to be really aggressive with pressing your healing cooldowns, and then just make sure you're thinking about like, okay, you know, how long until we spawn Pride? That's where I should start. Okay, you know, like Pride's coming up probably in the next couple minutes. I'm gonna save this cooldown that's coming up for Pride, and then I can use the other cooldowns or something like that. So to show you an example here, this is some logs that I pulled up just from random dungeons and random players. So the first one that we'll look at is a plus 15 Mist of Tyrannus Scythe that was just completed today. It's, you know, no one in particular. And we have like their ability cast throughout the dungeon, so it's a 25-minute run. They press Astral Shift twice, which is their defensive, and this is on a 1.5-minute cooldown. So out of, you know, potentially casting it about 20 times, they cast it twice. So that's like 18 missing uses in theory. We had 3 Ascendance casts, which is a 3-minute cooldown. And then we have, I believe it's cooldown. Did I get that wrong? No, yeah, it is. Okay. And we have Spirit Link once throughout the whole dungeon. And now we're going to look at a plus 23 of the exact same dungeon, done by one of the currently best shamans in the world. We have Healing Potion. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I didn't mention about this first log, is there's no Healing Potion usage, which Healing Potion is absolutely massive on Grievous weeks. So first thing, we have Healing Potion usage. Still could have been used a little bit more, but I think he also used a Mana Potion, which that's the one... where is it? I can't find it, but we have 2 healing pots. We have Astral Shift. We have 6 casts of Astral Shift. That's not bad. We still have this really big gap in the middle here, which should not be happening. But, you know, he's using it more frequently. Like we look back at the other log, 2 Astral Shift compared to 6. And then also look where his first Astral Shift is. It's like 30 seconds into the dungeon. And where is the other shaman's first Astral Shift? 8 minutes into the dungeon almost. Same thing with Ascendance. First Ascendance is used at 30 seconds into the dungeon. First Ascendance here is used 10 minutes into the dungeon. Like that's absolutely massive. So like you already see the difference of the like better shaman player is trying to get these cooldowns used immediately. And then look, so like he uses it at 36, he uses it again at 350. That's almost immediately when it comes off cooldown. And then from here, I'm assuming this is like the boss, which he doesn't really need to use Ascendance for. And then you have like the entrance of the maze and stuff, which apparently he didn't see like a use for. So this is probably like what I would assume is the second Pride, and this might be the first Pride, something like that. And then same thing with Spirit Link. It's used 1 minute into the dungeon, and then our other Spirit Link is used 5 minutes into the dungeon. It's just this massive difference, and then still like there's this huge gap here. But I would assume that what he's doing is using Ascendance and his defensives and stuff as like his constant cooldowns to use, and then he's saving Spirit Link for like that oh shit moment essentially. But still, like there's even mistakes here. We're not, you know, there's no point. Like this is 18 minutes almost of not using Spirit Link, so there still is mistakes. But for the most part, like this is still, you can see the massive difference in cooldown usage on the exact same dungeon with pretty close to the same time. They were even 3 minutes higher. So so yeah, I just wanted to go over some quick tips. Hopefully that helps you guys out. I know a lot of people are struggling with Grievous. I have some other videos that I'm going to post here in the next, probably in the next day or two. Hopefully I get some out today of just like actual VOD reviews of healing Grievous Pridefuls, because I know Grievous Pridefuls are like a big, you know, stepping point in Grievous weeks, because the Pridefuls are significantly harder than they are on regular weeks. So we're going to go over a little bit of that later. So thank you guys again for hanging out. Be sure to stop by the stream, like the video, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see you guys later.